Hey, Gator Nation, welcome back to an all new episode of the Respect Our Decision podcast. Guys, tonight I am your boy Hirsch. With me, CJ the Man McCann.
What is up, guys?
Wes is out this week, man. He's coaching his kids' football team. We had to record this a day early. I've got some things going on personally tomorrow, a little wedding shower at the church opportunity. We did not do an episode last week, guys. I was personally recovering from some aftermath of Hurricane Helene. Just needed to get I had just gotten my power back, so it was nice to have air conditioning in the house and just have all the modern day comforts that we take for granted. But
Stop looking like the Waltons.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I canceled my Amish lifestyle free trial that I had subscribed to.
Laura Ingalls.
The Mennonites came by and made me a pie. Yeah, but in all seriousness, guys, if you're listening to the show, if you have an opportunity to, and you are in the path of this next Hurricane Milton, guys, if you can get out, if that's something that isn't available to you, we hope you can. If not, we pray for your safety. We pray that everything is good, that you come out of it okay, and that, that's all that matters at the end of the day, is that you personally are safe. Everything can be replaced, with time, but your life can't. So just be careful, take care. We're praying for you, and we'll see you on the other side of this thing. All right, CJ. As always, guys, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I forgot how to do this with a week off. I'm rusty. Make sure, guys, if you're checking us out on YouTube and you haven't already, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, guys. And if you can, hit that like button, man. We need 100 likes on each and every video. That is the way to go. And in the comments below, guys, go ahead and drop your score prediction for Florida, Tennessee. It's that week, man. It's Tennessee hate week. And we got to do it, man. We got to talk about it. But first, let's talk about Gators getting a much needed win off the bye versus UCF, guys. I don't think it goes without saying that if you'd have lost to UCF, I think Billy's tenure probably would have come to an end Saturday night, Sunday morning. But thankful for us, UCF was not good. They were not a good football team. That was not a good football team. And look, I'm not trying to downplay a win. I know somebody's going to eat me up and say you're not being positive enough. I'm positive. I am positive that for the first half of that football, that was probably the most complete half of football the Florida Gators have played all season, that first half versus UCF. Now, in typical Napier team fashion, we got a good lead and we take our foot off the gas pedal in the second half, play a little less intense, I think, is probably the best way to describe it. The intensities didn't seem to be there. The offensive play calling seemed to be very lax. Man, I just would love to see this guy just get fired up and say, you know what, we're just going to score 50 on these jokers because we can. But this is the same guy that every week goes up there to the podium on Monday and says, this week we're playing so-and-so. And I have tremendous respect for him and his program and all of that. And look, that's all well and good. I'm not, I'm not trying to just sit here and continuously poo-poo on Coach Napier for all of this, but these are the reasons that he's on this hot seat right now. I mean, it's just, you've got to, it was nice to see some fire out of him when you got the roughing the running into the kicker penalty and things like that. That was great. But, man, you'd like to see that more often. Like, that's something I'd like to see, like, all game long, just jumping. I mean, maybe, maybe I'm asking for too much. But great team win. I think the defense looked really, really solid, especially in the first half. Got a great pass rush. CJ's man, George Gums, continues to be a force at edge. I mean, man, if we'd had this guy for a couple years, I think he would be an absolute all SEC kind of end. But once again, this is a guy that was playing offense 2 years ago and just took up the defensive side of the football. CJ, what were some of your takeaways from this game? I mean, I know we were very similar in our thought process here.
Yeah, the first half I felt really, really good. Like for the first time in a long time, I watched the first half and I said, "Man, we're doing to UCF what we should be doing because UCF's not a good football team. They're not good on the line of scrimmage on either
Very
side of the
one dimensional.
football. It was really just kind of it. We did a good job. We were aggressive. We saw some fire from Billy Napier, and then it put a fire in the defense and put a fire in the whole stadium when he did that. It changed the mood, which is it's like people are like, "Thank you, finally something," and then it just kind of went away. He just walked around and did his typical Billy Napier, just standing on the sideline. And I just, it was like, man, could we just get to 30 points? Could we do that? Could we get to 31 points? We get this touchdown, extra point. You really could have really took your foot off the gas for real then. If you're up 31-3 or 31-6 in the third quarter, okay, that's fine. Let the backups play. But we came out like the game was over in the second half. And I'm like, this isn't much of a lead, man. This is, we're talking, 21 points. Okay. That's nothing for college offenses now, especially when you have as much time as you do in college with the first downs and getting out of bounds and those different things. So, I don't know. Like I said, it was just kind of disappointing. It was like it went over like a fart in church in the second half. It was like, man, what in the world? What happened to the team I saw in the first half? Because it wasn't the same, when they showed up. But there were bright spots. You talked about my man George Gums. There was one particular play where George comes off the edge and he goes after KJ, but he gets knocked down. But he gets up again and he goes and still fights back and gets an assist on the tackle at the end of the play. And I'm like, finally, somebody, because it's for so long we've had edge rushers that would just get knocked down and they'd lay in the dirt and they wouldn't get up for the rest of the play. Or if they did, they'd just kind of get up and walk around. But this guy still fought back to the quarterback.
He got knocked down, but he got up again.
That's right.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. What is that? Wumba Jumba? Mumba Jumba?
Like yeah.
Anyway. It's not Oasis. That's all I remember. But no, you saw that. Bryce Thornton played a good game. Probably the best game we've seen from a safety, at the University of Florida in a long time. It's been a while. So good for them. You saw DJ make a great throw. Wish we would have got to see a little more of that. We saw Jaden Ball come in and do really cool stuff. And you're watching Jaden Ball and you're watching Jacoby Jackson and you're like, why aren't these guys getting the ball more? And that's not to disparage Montreal. Montreal had one of his better games of the season. And again, I'm firmly in the Montreal Johnson fan club, but I just don't understand why we're not using these other guys to our advantage. A little more, and I know Trey Webb was out, you didn't have him, but just seeing Ball was like, this guy doesn't play like a freshman. He doesn't look like a freshman. This looks like a guy who's been here for a long time. He adds a spark. The way he takes the ball and runs is just different. It's the same thing with Jacoby Jackson. Jacoby Jackson, especially, I mean, that guy takes the ball and runs like he wants to get, 10 yards every time he touches it. But you got to see a few things. You got to see Tank Hawkins look pretty good, filling in for the Eugene Wilson Mizell role that he played. You saw him, not really get downfield or anything. No downfield passes for him. Maybe, I think one, maybe 5 or 6 yard hitch, and then he took it and went up the field.
It was about a 12-yard hitch, and he got 31 out of it. Yeah,
right.
I was going to say, because I was going to go back to what you said about DJ and his long pass. I don't get what it is about why we don't attempt forward passes. Like we saw it in the Mississippi State game. Graham made some good throws. He hit tight end on a seam and things like this. And this game, it was like, no, you know what? I'm going to go back to doing the dink and dunk thing and just manage the clock, manage the game. And maybe that's the game plan. I don't know, because I felt like he had a really good pocket all night long.
Yeah, there were some good plays made by Baugh blocking in the running back position. The offensive line played one of their better games. I don't think we were sacked. If we were, it was maybe once. And that's, hard to say for this offensive line. So they did a good job.
No sacks.
no sacks given up by the offensive line. And I know it's UCF, and I know their D line isn't that great, but that's a good job for our offensive line to do that. So that's a positive. But we saw it there a couple of times where you watch DK go downfield, or you watch Badger go downfield, and you're like, we have the guys to do this. These guys can absolutely do this. Why aren't we trying this more? This needs to be done. It was like you do it and you're like, oh, hey, that works, and then you just kind of stow it away, and we maybe see it maybe once again later in the game, and I'm like, why aren't we doing this more? It's not like we're in a position now where we don't have the receivers, because DK and Badger have proved that they are very capable wide receivers. I mean, Elijah Badger is a Sunday kind of football player. So I don't get it. I don't understand it. Maybe somebody out there's going to say we're saving something for Tennessee. Whatever, I guess. But
if Billy Napier at this point with his job on the line is saving things, that tells me everything I need to know. Not that I already didn't know, but
yeah. And like I said, there was a lot of good things in this game, but they were like I said, regulated to the first half. After the first half, it was like a completely different football team went up there. And it's just frustrating to watch it. I mean, even the first drive, we have a hell of a scripted drive. These guys come out, they go right down the field. Beautiful play action pass to a deep flag route in the end zone, something that I've been begging for the whole time. I'm like, why are we not doing this out of the jumbo set? We already run 12 personnel anyway. Let's run a play action pass, do something quick to somebody and just throw it. And Graham makes a great play out of there. I don't understand why we don't move things around a little more. We show we have the ability to do it. And for whatever reason, it's not being done. And I think that's the most frustrating thing to me about this football team is there are flashes of really, really talented football players. This football team is super talented, and I'll stand by that. But they're just not being given opportunities to show their talent. And it's just really frustrating to watch.
Yeah. Going back to the receiver, we had 23 completions to only 6 guys. Now, we know Trey's out. We know Mizell's out. Mizell, somebody said he was wearing a boot after the last game. I don't know what his status is now. Obviously, we didn't have an injury report due to not playing an SEC team. Trey went through warm-ups, gave it a go, obviously coming off the knee scope. So that right there tells you Trey's trying to play. For those that had the theories that Trey was going to opt out and quit on the team. You don't get all dressed up, go out there and go through warm-ups if you're just going to opt out. You just don't dress. We watched Kamari Wilson do this last year. I was trying to find a snap count for the game because I'm trying to find out wide receiver. Here we go. Okay, so Marcus Burke actually did play 18 snaps. I was looking into that, or was that the week before? Nope, that was the week before. I stand corrected. Because we have other receivers. Andy Jean is supposed to be helping out. Now, that goes back to, are some of these guys opting out? Do you have guys opting out? So that's going to have to be something to be considered going forward as well. I mean, how short are you in that wide receiver room? That Tank Hawkins is out there getting 7 catches in the game. And that's great. I'm glad we can count on a true freshman to go out there, get 7 catches and make, now I'm so tired. Like, I feel like we're in year 1 again, throwing the screenplay to Xavier Henderson. Like, we've gone back all of a sudden in time to throw in the screen passes, like 4 to 6, 7 times a game. It's just ridiculous. We have forward passes there, like you said. I mean, you have really good route runners in DK and Badger. And Hayden Hansen, I still feel, is like the most underused guy on the team. All that dude does is put up yards when he catches the football. But we throw to him twice. Boardingham has 1 catch. And I just don't understand I don't understand the game planning. I just don't. Like, you have the offensive weapons now to score more points than this. And then you've harped on this since DJ had his game against Sanford. Now when he comes in the game, it's almost like they've got a protection scheme for him where they don't want him to do too much. I think that seam route he threw to DK, I mean, that's a big league ball.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that was an absolute seed. Like, there's not a whole lot of quarterbacks that can make that kind of excellent throw that he made.
That to be a freshman and to know to make the decision, because if he waits a half second later, that's picked off. No matter where he puts the ball, it doesn't matter. And absolutely just has confidence in his arm. He puts his foot into it and just throws a laser because he's like, I'm making this throw. And like I said, I'm firmly in the Graham Mertz fan club. My Twitter bio says Graham Mertz Stan account. I love Graham Mertz, but Graham ain't making that throw. That's just not him. And that's no disrespect to Graham. DJ's just something different. And what he gives you that's different, it doesn't feel like we're using. So if we're using this 2 quarterback system, then why aren't we using it to play to the one strength and the other strength? That would be like when we used the 2 quarterback system with Tim Tebow, we tried to run a pro style offense instead when he would come out there. It would be doing a disservice to the man. I don't understand it. I don't get it. It just, I don't know if they're calling different plays for them or what, but it just feels like it. Just watching the game, it's like, what are we doing here? Because we've got a guy with a cannon for an arm, and we're bringing him in every third, series. But then he gets out there, and we run a couple of runs, a couple of dive plays, maybe an off tackle thing, maybe a zone run, and then we'll get to third down and be 3rd down and 4, and we might throw a little hitch to the side or a curl or somebody out in the flat, and that's it. That's the offense, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Before we move on to Tennessee, breaking bad news for the Florida Gators. Fantastic to happen right now. 2025 wide receiver Joshua Moore has flipped from the Gators to Miami as we record this.
That's been building for a little while,
and there will be more, guys. I mean, it is what it is. Hey, there you go. It just, look, I know we've gotten comments over the last few episodes that, our negativity and recruits might hear what we have to say. It doesn't matter what little guys like us say on a podcast. Recruits have eyes. They can see what's happening, and they know that this is not something that's going in the positive direction. As my man, for those of you that know who District 352 is out there, District 352 just sent me a text message and says, every day we keep this guy is a effing mistake.
Yeah, it's like we're having like a weekend at Bernie's kind of coaching, where it's like, the guy that's there isn't there. Like, that's just, he's not going to be there, and we just got him there as like a figurehead. And I don't know exactly the reason behind it. It's really not making any sense. Most of the high profile recruits know that Billy won't be the coach next year just because they're not stupid. They can look at this program and tell where it's going. It's not, we've had news articles and everything else written. There's hot boards out there for the next coach. Short of Billy Napier, if the only thing I think Billy can do to save his job right now is if he goes 9-3. If he wins all these games, if he goes 9-3, then we'll have a different talk. But none of us believe that can even be remotely possible. A 6-6 would be a miracle at this point to me. So,
yeah, and we're going to start that conversation right here because you're going to head to Neyland Stadium for a night game. And look, Tennessee's coming off of a bad beat. I mean, they lost 19-14 to Arkansas at Arkansas. Nico looked like a redshirt freshman starting his 5th game, I believe it was. He had a rough game. Arkansas had a good game plan. Arkansas has played much improved football this year. But they had the home field advantage. They were at home. Things happen. As you can see in college football this year, stuff is wild. I mean, we got Vandy beating Bama. Anything can happen. So, obviously, I can't use that logic to Vandy beating Bama and say that there's not a chance Florida can't go to Tennessee and win the game. I mean, sure, there's a chance Florida can go. And I know there's going to be people that say it. We always play them tight. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the weirdest series of them all that we play. I mean, FSU, it's either usually we beat the hell out of them, they beat the hell out of us, something of that nature. And then we've had some crazy games in between. But it seems like every Tennessee game is some crazy story that you wrote up for a football movie. I personally don't think that's going to be the case this year. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm going to give my reasons for it. The biggest reason, I don't know how this team can perform in a night game at Neyland Stadium that's going to have 109,000 Vol fans that all hate our guts screaming at the top of their lungs because they want nothing more. This is I think it's almost worse that they won, that they lost this game to Arkansas, because now they're going to come in like like you hit the beehive with a broom. They're going to be pissed off. Their fans are pissed off, and they want nothing more than to beat Florida, especially after last year. Vols feel like right now their program is going in a totally different direction than ours, and they've got some real talent on that team. Now, the other thing that worries me is on defense, when we have to call plays in a hurry, our defense still stands around looking at the sidelines and aren't ready to roll in time, when the ball snapped. And Tennessee runs tempo. And I got a good feeling. I listened to some shows today, Sports Talk Jay and a couple of those guys from Tennessee. I listened to their shows today and listened to some of their thoughts about this. And they feel like this is going to be the game where Heupel takes the training wheels completely off Nico and let him do whatever he wants to do. I think, now I feel like he's probably done that to an extent already, but they say like part of it is Nico doesn't run like at all. He can run, but he very rarely does. And if you remember when we played Hendon Hooker, Hooker gave us fits when he chose to run the ball. I just have a hard time seeing the consistent, we're not getting enough pressure, and Tennessee's offensive line is a huge step up over UCF's offensive line.
Absolutely, night and day.
And Tennessee's defensive line is a nightmare matchup for our offensive line. Pierce is probably the best defensive lineman in the country, right there with him. Top 5 pick forecasted in the draft. I just don't know. I haven't seen anything from this team to make me feel like we could go into Neyland for a night game in that kind of circumstance, and it be just like, you know what, man, we got this. We're rising at the right time. We've beaten 2 bad football teams in a row. It is what it is. Mississippi State is a bad football team. UCF is trending the wrong way. They got smoked by Colorado. And, we should have smoked them, but we didn't. And if you don't play 4 quarters against this Tennessee team, it's curtains. And I don't think this is a game that Billy Napier can afford to lose by more than 7 to 10 points. I think if it's any worse than that, then we're going to be talking about. I think he probably still makes it through Kentucky, and then as the bye comes for the Georgia game, then that's when you might possibly see a change. You know, or he pulls a shocker. CJ, what do you think?
It's this is tough because this is the first time in my entire life as a Florida fan where I have gone into the Tennessee game and said, "There ain't no shot we're winning this," which is wild. You know, I think Tennessee in my lifetime, I think Tennessee's beaten Florida maybe 5 times. So it's not this is completely new territory. Um, yeah, it's this isn't a the old saying styles make fights. We're about as opposite as we can be. Everything that we're not good at, they're good at. So it's just going to be fighting uphill the whole game. The only hope that Florida has in this game is ball control. That's how Arkansas beat Tennessee. The problem is, when have you known Florida to really sustain drives consistently, put them together back to back to back to back? Sure,
Last year
we'll have
versus Tennessee. That was the last time,
right.
and that
So it doesn't happen. And even if it does, we get like 1 or 2 of those drives a game, and the rest of the time it's punt, 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 punt. It just it's not it's just not the way Billy Napier plays football. He plays a slow, we're going to run the ball and we're going to run screen plays and maybe we'll break something, and that's cool. But it just I don't think we match up well. I don't think we match up well in line of scrimmage. I don't think our defensive scheme is good enough to take Tennessee. I think Heupel, knows. I mean, another thing on top of this, if Tennessee, they've lost to Arkansas now. If Tennessee was to lose to us this week, I think that the people in Neyland and Knoxville would crank up the heat on Mr. Heupel. Because
can't lose
Florida's
to Florida back to back. Not with
you
as much money as they put into that
they
program.
put a lot of money into this. They are much better than us on paper. But Heupel is 1-2 against Florida. So they know that something's got to change. They've been our whipping boy since the end of the Vietnam War, and they don't want that to continue. They don't like us, and I think if you lose to Arkansas, which is a game nobody thought they were going to lose, and then you lose to Florida, Heupel's not stupid. He knows that ain't going to be good for me. So everything that man's got in his playbook, every trick he can pull, he's throwing it at Florida. So just be ready to see it. Um, like I said, and I know, on the flip, the only thing I could come up with is this game is personal to Billy Napier, which, why just this one? None of the other ones we play, but this one here is personal to him. He does not like Tennessee. He's got Tennessee fans in his family. It means a lot to him to beat Tennessee. That's why you've seen probably the 2 best coached games Billy Napier's had since he's been at Florida were the games to Tennessee. Those were the only times where we looked like a real legitimate SEC program consistently. And you're 1-1. So I just don't have a good feeling about this. When has Billy Napier gone on the road at night and beaten an SEC team?
He hasn't.
He has not.
Nope.
And gone on the road at night and beat anybody. We
I
talked about
just thought about that when you said that. I had to sit here and think. He's only won 3 road games.
we talk about our woes at lunch, but man, we ain't beat nobody at night either. So you've got a stadium. They're going to stripe the stadium. They're going to checkerboard the field. They're going to have Peyton Manning there, and they're going to have Philip Fulmer there, and they're going to have Smokey the Dog there, and they're going to have
Morgan Wallen will be
Robert
singing.
McFall's going to be there, and then they're going to have
God.
one heck of a time. It's going to be tough to beat that team. They're going to be motivated. I think that this might be curtains for Billy Napier. His tenure. Listen, and don't take this as I want to lose to Tennessee. I hate Tennessee. I hate Tennessee with everything in my body. if we can go beat Tennessee, I'll be over the moon. But I just don't. I think that this is the year that we can definitively say Tennessee's got our number.
It's sad, man. I hate even thinking like this because you never have this thought process versus Tennessee ever.
We've had some bad teams beat Tennessee. Some
I
horrible teams.
I've watched Jeff Brantley beat Tennessee. I've watched Felipe Franks beat Tennessee. Emory Jones beat Tennessee.
Tyler Murphy beat
Tyler
Tennessee.
Murphy. That was the one I couldn't remember his name. Yeah, Tyler Murphy beat Tennessee. But man, the difference is, and I'm gonna go on the soapbox just a little bit here. Tennessee has an AD that is 1,000% bought in to making Tennessee great. I don't want to say the statement because I don't want anybody to get upset. Danny White is 1,000% bought in to doing whatever it takes to make Tennessee football nationally relevant again. And so far, so good.
Well, he's already got baseball and basketball there.
Look, I mean, Tennessee's in the conversation in all major sports now. They're in the conversation. Whether you like to admit that or not, they are. They're in the conversation.
They're national champions. They won national.
They're national champions in baseball. Now, granted, they still haven't ever done anything in basketball that's worth writing home about. But look, they're making it in the tournament.
They were SEC champions. I mean,
now in football, personally, I don't think Josh Heupel is the answer for the football team. I don't think Josh Heupel's ever going to be more than a guy that probably gets you 9-3 or something like that. And it is what it is. But Danny White will make that change. I promise you. If Josh Heupel ain't getting it done, Danny White's going to be like, all right, we're going to go find somebody that can. And that's going to be what it is. I got to see that kind of fire from Florida, man. We don't. We hear about some stuff behind the scenes. You hear, oh, the boosters are fed up and whatnot. Well, how fed up are we? Are we fed up that if something happens, if we get embarrassed in this game Sunday or Monday, are we talking about Billy Napier being out of a job? Because that's where we should be. We're losing recruits now. You haven't won a significant game. You can say UCF was a good win, and that's fine. You can say it's a good win. It's not significant. It's not a conference game. They weren't close to ranked. They got blown out of their own stadium by Colorado the week before. I mean, I think it's fool's gold is the problem. People are buying back into it, but like, oh, just, he's got a chance now to make a run. Well, he absolutely has a chance to. And Saturday night, we're going to find out how much he really wants to be the coach at the University of Florida. Now, I don't think it matters one way or another because I think he's out of his depth. I just do. I'm sorry if that upsets anybody who's still on the Napier train. Because I wanted Billy to work. Hell, we sat on this show for 2+ years preaching patience, let him get his guys. He's had these obstacles he's had to go through and these hoops he's had to jump through. And the situation was bad when he got here. We've made all the rebuttals and excuses and preached all the things we could preach. And here we are. When it reaches the point where me and this man and the hype man get to where we're like, look, this ain't the answer. It's pretty significant because I don't do the whole flip-flop thing. I just don't. No. I come from a family of football coaches, and I've watched what football coaches have to go through, and I sympathize for football coaches deeply. But at the end of the day, it's show business, not show friends. That's all it is.
That's right.
You're getting paid $7 million a season. Your staff is getting paid $7 million, and you're getting 50-cent results. I mean, I don't think there's anybody listening to this show that says you know what? I'm okay with the University of Florida being average. At least we're not getting speeding tickets and getting arrested like the guys at Georgia are. At least we don't have to wear that ugly ass orange that Tennessee wears. Whatever it is. But at this point, look, man, it's put up or shut up. That's all it is. It's put up or shut up. You know what else is put up or shut up? Weekly Pick Ems, man. God almighty, you know how hard it is to pick games every week in this landscape?
It's pretty tough. Transitive property is not helping anybody right now.
Dog, I am tired of feeling like I got 8-2 locked down just to go 5-5 on the week. And that's what I did last week. And obviously we did our picks off air. I went 5-5. CJ and West both went 6-4. That tightened my lead to one game over CJ. I'm 35-25 on the season. CJ's 34-26. And as per usual, the hype man's down there at 32-28. And that's with him picking Georgia. He picked Georgia and then lost 2 weeks ago. I hate we didn't get on the air and give him hell for that. It's just whoever West picks in a Georgia game, go the other way and go heavy.
Yeah.
So, Wes obviously isn't here. He's already submitted his picks, and I'll read those off as we go through the games. We're going to start with an unusual Big Ten matchup. Penn State, steady as the rain, goes out to California to play USC. Lincoln Riley, if Lincoln Riley was a stock, I might be selling all my shares right now. What do you think,
Billy
CJ?
Napier and Lincoln Riley in the last 12 games have the same record. They're both 5-7.
That's crazy talk.
Yeah, throw in Sonny Dykes. Sonny Dykes is also in there. He went and played for a national championship. That's rough.
Think about this. You're talking about Lincoln had I got Lane on the brain. He had Caleb Williams and Addison and all of that. He's had so much talent, more than I would say Billy had, just to have that record.
It played nobody.
And losing to Minnesota.
Governor
but even then, Wes is taking USC in this game. CJ, who you going with? You going to go with the James Franklins?
No, I'm taking USC in this game because James Franklin has not impressed me. I don't care if they're 5-0. I don't care how many years he's gone 5-0. This is a game that James Franklin typically loses. He's going to go on the road. It's a long trip. You got to go to California. I'm not sure about Penn State's firepower. I know that he's had some rough weeks, but Lincoln, I can still trust him more with an offense. So I'm going to take the Trojans. I might be looking like an idiot by the end of this, but yeah, I'll take the Trojans in this one. If it was at Penn State, I'd feel completely different.
Yeah, the 3,000-mile trip is kind of worrisome, but I'm still going with Penn State. I think that boat, the Trojans, are sinking into the ocean. Bad state of affairs out there. All right, next game. Kansas State travels to Boulder to take on Coach Prime off a bye week. Wes is going with K-State Wildcats. CJ, who you taking?
Yeah, I'm taking K-State. I know Coach Prime beat UCF, but we beat UCF, so that didn't tell me much.
Transitive. Man, I don't know. I'm kind of tired on this one. I'm buying Colorado stock right now. I'm doing it. Colorado, give me the Buffs. I don't know why. They're playing hot, man. They're playing really good. Maybe something special is in the water out there. Everybody wrote them off after that North Dakota game, and they've played back. Now, I wouldn't even put this game on the slate a week ago, but now we kind of got to talk about it a little bit. South Carolina at Bama. Bama fresh off a loss to Vandy. I've only been able to say that like one time in my lifetime. You've never been able to say it.
No, never. This is new territory.
Uncharted territory.
Stop comparing this to the ULM loss when they lost to Louisiana. This is totally different. That Alabama team stunk. This is
that Bama team. That Bama team's talented, and boy, I mean, what a scene! God almighty, that was fun to watch the end of that game and all those guys and how happy they were.
I mean, it was just a game where I'm sitting there like, at some point, the talent's going to win out, and Alabama's going to find a way to beat this team because it just happens that way. But damn it, if it never did.
It's time to get the Clark Lee hype train to Florida going,
That's
everybody.
Right. Coach Clark Lee.
Wes is going with Bama. Safe to say you're going with the same?
Yeah, I'm taking the Tide. I think DeBoer's got him a polo shirt this week. He's going to get out of that frumpy shirt that the Alabama fans hated so much, and he's going to put it on the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Yeah, I think they're going to bounce back heavily. South Carolina didn't look very good against Ole Miss. I assume that Bama's going to give them a little bit of a woodshed treatment, especially at Bama. Cocktober will not be kind. All right. Arizona travels to BYU. Arizona's been real up and down this year. Wes is going with BYU. Who you taking?
Yeah, I'm taking the Mormons in this one. BYU looks like they're in a position to maybe win the Big 12.
I think they are definitely a playoff team right now.
They could definitely. I mean, it's between them and Texas Tech and Iowa State of who's going to make it, because Oklahoma State is just crap the bed, and TCU has too.
Yeah, give me the fighting Jim McMahon's BYU. Let's do it.
That's right.
Man, that's wild. BYU is on a roll. All right, here's another game. We could go. This game wouldn't be on the slate, but now we got to give it some consideration. Vandy at Kentucky. Vandy riding the hot wave, coming off the emotional roller coaster. Wes says Vandy's going to win again this week. CJ, what do you think?
I want to pick Vandy so bad. And Kentucky has not looked good. I'm just afraid of that letdown. It's just like, how can you match that energy? It's like all of
that intensity is hard to have.
Air is going to come out of that balloon when they play Kentucky at Kroger Field. But you know what? Damn it, I'm taking the Commodores. She's a brick house. We're going with Vandy all the way.
I can't do it. I have bought in. I was thinking the same exact thing you just said. The emotional letdown, especially not being at home the week after that game. Do you know how much it probably took for that team, that just the emotional high to go 4 quarters, blow for blow with Bama?
For the next 2 nights, I couldn't have.
I mean, them fans are still, them goalposts are out of that river and probably somewhere else now. They're probably down. Took them things down to Dollywood by now. Oh my goodness. Yeah, give me Kentucky. I just don't think they can do it 2 weeks in a row. All right. The Lane Train on the road to Death Valley to take on LSU. Wes is going with LSU. I think he's trying to get Lane to Florida quicker. CJ, what do you think?
Yeah, this is a tough one. And Ole Miss hasn't beat LSU since 2008. It's tough, but I don't like LSU this year. They don't do much for me. So I'm taking Ole Miss. I think Lane, is going to find a way to beat Brian Kelly this time around. I think the talent at Ole Miss is just going to be too much.
Yeah, I'm the same way. This has like a 20-17 kind of feel to it. Like it's just going to be a snooze fest that somebody's got to win. And I'm taking Lane to win this one, even though I'd like him to. I mean, I need him to lose 2 more games before the end of the season, preferably. Just wishing out loud. All right, let's head on down to Tobacco Road. Georgia Tech travels to North Carolina to take on UNC in a battle of mid. Wes went with Georgia Tech. Who you taking, CJ? You always get stumped up on a Georgia Tech game.
Yeah, I'm going with the Ramblin' Rex. North Carolina is not in a good way right now. They're not in a good way. They got the coaching hot boards out. They got their fans asking if they think Urban Meyer would come out of retirement to coach North Carolina. They are in full.
We've got Jordan Brand.
They're in full get this season out of the way mode. So yeah, I'll take the Tech Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, man, I'm taking the Ramblin' Wreck myself. I'm always a sucker for Georgia Tech having a good season. Love what they're building up there. Think they're a couple years away from really being back to some prominence. Yet they can keep Key there.
Yeah.
All right. The Jeff Brom Louisville Cardinals travel to Virginia to take on Virginia. Virginia 4-1 on the season. A surprising 4-1 Virginia team. Wes went with Louisville. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm still gonna go with Louisville. I'm going with Jeff Brom again. I don't know why Louisville is disappointing compared to where I thought they would be this season. They look to be the other team to compete for the ACC title, and they've handed that baton to the SMU Mustangs.
And that is why we do not want Jeff Brom on our coaching hot list for the University of Florida. Just say no to Jeff Brom. Yeah, I'm taking Louisville too in this game. I don't think Virginia's really played much of anybody. Louisville coming off a loss, I think they'll bounce back in this one. All right, the Red River rivalry. Say that 3 times fast. Texas travels to Oklahoma to take on the Sooners. West took Texas. I don't think this is really a tough one. What are you thinking here, CJ?
This game is,
it's weird.
Wild stuff. Weird. It's the best rivalry in college sports. I put it above everybody else. I think, the Red River rivalry is, got more prestige and more hatred between the two fan bases than I think anybody else. But I'm taking the Horns. I think that Texas should be able to take this game and make it not close. I think they should be able to just manhandle Oklahoma at this point.
I watched that Tennessee Oklahoma game, and I just wasn't impressed at all about what Oklahoma brings to the table. And Texas, to me, is one of the 2 most complete teams in the country that I've seen this year. And the funny thing about Texas is they could start Ewers, they could start Arch. I don't even know what Ewers' condition is, but I don't think it matters one bit. I think they're equally as effective no matter who's starting. So give me Texas in this one. All right, the big game of the week. Number 2 versus number 3. Ohio State travels up to Oregon to take on the Ducks. Wes is going with Ohio State. CJ, who you taking?
Again, I picked the Ducks to win it all this year, so I'm going with the Ducks. They're playing in the zoo, so hopefully that helps them. And this is going to be the game they got to get up for. Oregon's had a tough time getting up for football games this year. It feels like they're not reaching their potential. They're playing good football, but not dominant football like I thought they would. But I'm going to take the Ducks. I think the Ducks get it done. I think they know how important this game is for their path in the Big Ten.
I just said that I thought Texas was one of the 2 most complete football teams in the country that I've seen. I think Ohio State is the other one right now. And Jeremiah Smith, my God, what we lost, what could have been. That kid is amazing. And I know there's been a lot of talk about Ryan Williams, and being that we are all SEC fans, maybe we don't see Jeremiah Smith as much as we see Ryan Williams on our screens. But Jeremiah Smith is quietly just –
he's on Heisman lists.
He's on Heisman list as a true freshman.
True freshman.
At receiver, at a position that doesn't even usually get – but because the quarterback play is so hit or miss this year, and with Ewers going down hurt, I mean, I think that really hurt his chances. And Milroe obviously just got the loss to Vandy, doesn't help his. I mean, and the young man at Boise State is looking to break every rushing record that's ever.
Barry Sanders should be very nervous about his record right now. That man is
I saw a stat today that if that man averaged 10 yards a carry for the rest of the season, his average would go down. That's insanity. But anyway, not to skip off topic. I don't think I am really surprised at how bad Dylan Gabriel has been at Oregon. I'm very surprised at how bad he's been. Really,
really pedestrian. Not Peyton Thorne bad. Like not that.
But I thought in that system, I figured he'd be more effective in that system than Bo Nix was last year.
I did too. Because he put up pretty good numbers at Oklahoma. And Oklahoma, you've watched them.
And we know what he did at UCF. I mean, obviously.
Yeah. So I thought so too. And maybe this is the game it comes together because if you're going to get up for a game, it's got to be this one. So we'll see what Dan Lanning is going to do up there. They're, big game in the zoo, man. Like it just and that's a long way to travel for Ohio State. That's a haul to go all the way to Oregon and play them way up there in Autzen. It's just it should be a fun game. But no, like you said, Jeremiah Smith was a guy that I don't think any of us are surprised watching his film in high school when we covered him on the show. We just knew this is the best wide receiver recruit we've seen in a long time. And I think today's college football is perfect for a kid like him. It just absolutely just ridiculous. He could go play in the NFL now. I don't, that's crazy.
That's a grown man.
Yeah, that kid's not a freshman. I mean, he's played 3 years and he's gone. If he could play 2 years, he'd go.
Oh, and if it wasn't obvious, I'm picking Ohio State in this game in case somebody missed that.
Taking the Buckeyes. Anyway,
those are our picks, guys. As always, do not use these picks as basis for gambling. Unless you want to. I mean, you're more than happy to.
You could fill out your card based on what we say.
I mean,
if you win,
you're
just
like,
slide in some of that bread.
I mean, just don't go with Wes's picks. He's always in last place.
Well, Wes didn't have to pick Georgia this week, so he's good to go.
Yeah, they're playing Mississippi State. I figured I'd leave that one off the card. He probably would have picked Mississippi State.
Yeah, he picked Mississippi State. God almighty. He'd be like, they play Texas tough.
I don't know. I just got a feeling about this one. I can hear it now.
Wes, bro, we put up 45 on Mississippi State.
We love you, Wes. We love you, Wes. 45 on the road. Couldn't put up more than 24 on UCF at home. Anyway, all right. Guys, that's going to do it for this week's episode. We appreciate you all tuning in. As always, CJ, what you got for folks before we
just thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope those out there that are about to be affected by Hurricane Milton, I hope that, you guys can listen to the show and get a little, enjoyment out of it. Just kind of take your mind off of stuff because, me and Hirsch have been through the hurricane and many of others that listen to this show that we reach out to have all, kind of been impacted by different things. And, we just definitely send our thoughts out to you guys. Do what you need to do for your family. For sure. Don't play around with a storm like this. This is not safe. Most of those folks in the Tampa area, though, they know that they've been through that with Ian and, different things. So, good luck to you guys. I hope you guys, get out of there. I hope everything ends well for you. And we'll be thinking about you. Of course, as always, I want to thank Alma Mater. Use our link there. Go buy some of the cool stuff they've got over there.
Got some new hoodies.
They got some new hoodies. Like I said, the hats. They got a Pell logo visor now if you want to go over there and get that. So, hey, listen, man, I'm still buying hats. Hirsch is still buying hats. This you can't take it out of us, no matter how bad Florida might be right now in football. I still wear my orange and blue, and I know all you guys do too. So check out them. Of course, we mentioned at the top of the show, Friends of Florida Victorious. If you want to donate to NIL, get the ball rolling. Maybe just, you can do it to any sport. So we're not even talking about football. Hey, basketball's right around the corner. Baseball's starting some fall ball stuff today. So if you want to support those guys, the girls that play softball, that's doing well. If you guys want to send your money to that and, you want to support some winning programs, then I go right ahead. But you can still do that to the Gator athletes. Make sure you know what your money's going to if you're able to do that. So I also just thank you guys so much for supporting us, the likes, the comments, the subscriptions. That helps us out a ton, puts us in the YouTube algorithm where more people can catch our show. Like I said, we're rolling right along. We're getting through this season. We're going to have probably a whirlwind of an off season based on the way this thing's going. So be here for that. We're not going anywhere. So just thank you guys so much. We really, really appreciate you.
Yes, sir. We do every week, man. Everybody that listens is awesome to us. We don't care how many of you there are. It's just the fact that you do. That's the only reason we do it. And we appreciate each and every one of you that do. Make sure, guys, drop a like on the video. Like I said, leave your comment on what you think the Tennessee score is going to be down below. Don't don't treat us too harshly in the comments, guys. Like I said, as always, these are just our opinions. If you don't have the same opinion as us, it's okay. It's all right. I'm not slamming anybody for having an opinion. We had opinions for 2 years about what we thought Billy Napier was. And now our opinions have changed based on results. And that's all it is. If Billy goes out there and somehow destroys Tennessee at Tennessee, my opinion might change again.
Definitely won't get on here and bash him next week if we find a way to do that.
Absolutely not.
You know, you just gotta win. You gotta show us something, man.
Well, like I said, that ball's in his court now. It's all in his court. So until next week, guys, we appreciate you all. Stay safe out there with the hurricane, guys. Please stay safe. And we love you. Go Gators.
Go Gators.